Yes, please share your PPT.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I hope it's shared. Huh?
Yes, yes, I can see. Yes, I think you can go ahead.
Okay. So, good afternoon, dear learners. We are in the block two of our course, that is economic impacts of diaspora. So, we are going to deal with today the unit 48, that is remittance. When you speak about the remittance, we will understand in this what is remittance and source regions for migrants' remittances to India, mechanisms of remittance in India, usage of remittances, and its impact at different levels. So, the learning objective, if you see, it is to understand what is remittance and what are the different types of remittances, and as well as we also understand the importance of international remittance in India and how the entrepreneur is different or business is different when a person in India is doing and when a person is having the diaspora community, how what is the difference? In India, the household level with respect to other foreign capital flows, and what are the uses of international remittances at the household level in India? So, very minute level we are going to discuss, and we will also learn about existing policies play in remittances behavior in India and what modes of transfer are used by migrants to send the remittances that means the money or the money flow and what purposes they are sending and what impact do remittances have on the economic and social well-being of migrant households and its impact also whole it is impact on the household level, community level, and national level in India. So when you see dear learners and what is remittance, it is our financial or non-financial transfers made by migrants to their home countries. It's all that is a considered as a remittance. So typically to support family members which contribute to reducing poverty, improving education and healthcare, and fostering economic growth. So normally, it's a basic understanding when a person goes from this country to other country for job. It is basically to make that for particular family to build a house or for some education or they have debt for some loans. So what it's a minimum level. But when they come out of that and they move ahead of the fostering the economic growth of the family or their community or they start business or whatsoever, and this is a fundamental thing when we deal about this. And uh, and if you see the migration, it's a global phenomenon. It means it's across the country. It is not only Indian people migrate. It's people migrate for various reasons, and this migration means a change in the place of residence where they are, and the distance, direction, duration of migration are not important. And so, even though any of the factors play a role in defining the character of migration in a country, it is a known fact that people migrate from one place to another in each in search of better life opportunities or due to social and environmental conditions, as we have discussed. So it's better life opportunities people are moving. And there are several causes behind migration. One is the economic cost. The predominant cost is economic, which have been one of the major factors towards migration. And people migrate their families from their families to achieve certain level of self-sufficiency and a better quality of life in the region and countries of origin. So, dear learners, we must understand why people migrate first. That is for several reasons, which is first is an economic cause, which economics factor is behave, which is the main reason for migration. And second, when we deal on it, so remittance. When you say remittance by migrants, have an undeniable potential of social well-being for their families left. So normally they go out and with a young age and they earn for 10 years or 5 years probably on contract or some skilled or unskilled labor in order to uh, bring the family to the next level. So it presents life sustainability to a marginalized or economically segregated areas and section of the society that have chosen international migration as an economic source. And it is immense importance for the student migration or diaspora studies to understand the various dimension of remittances. Okay, so what is remittance is all about? The role of migration has been transforming into an instrumental factor in the development of world incomes. That's the main thing. And what is the Reserve Bank of India says about the remittance? The remittance refers to private transfer, including workers' remittances for family maintenance, local withdrawal from NRI deposits, personal gifts, charitable contribution. It's all comes under uh, kind of remittance. So whatever they do for this family or society or their community, it considers remittances from private from the diaspora community. And key characteristics of remittances. When you speak about this, and remittances have over the time become commonly used term, which is however rarely defined. Analytical studies define remittances as a sum of selected balance of payments flow. In some studies, some of workers' remittances on compensation of employees. In others, some of the above balance of payments, component plus minus. So there is a various definitions regarding the uh, remittance. When you, in your study material, you see very clearly the personal remittances means is equal to compensation of employees, social contributions, personal transfers, capital transfers between households. So these all comes under uh, what to say remittance, personal remittances. So when you say the earning of workers residing abroad for less than 12 months, including the value of in-kind benefits, is also remittance. So net non-life insurance premiums or non-life insurance claims considered as remittances. So amount paid or received by resident households, it's also remittances. So you see, the personal transfer consists of all current transfers in cash or in kinds or whatever. It is falls under remittances. So we have seen the RBI definition. It private transfer include inward remittances from Indian workers abroad for a family maintenance purposes, local withdrawal from NIRP deposits, gold and silver brought through passenger package. It's a remittance and personal gifts and donations to charitable and religious institutions all falls under the category of remittances. So the National Sample Survey NSS clearly defines remittances as transfers either in cash or in kind to the household by their former members who had migrated out. This is what NSSO guidance. I'll once again reiterate. It is transfers either in cash or in kind to the household by their former members who had migrated. That means this NSSO consider the transfer by the former household members who had migrated out any time in the past are only considered and the transfers by them during the last 365 days are treated as remittances. So simple it is. If they send any amount through bank transfers, or if they bring gold or silver in their packing, are considered as remittances. These things. So when you see the type of transfer, as I have said, it includes cash or non-cash transfers. When you say channels, it is through bank, money transfer organization, Western Union, MoneyGram, telegraphic transfers, electronic system, informal Hawala, we might have heard about it, Hawala, direct cash transfers, and economic impact. What is the economic impact of that? Key characteristics of remittances. It reduces poverty at the household level. We might have witnessed so many families whose uh, poverty might have uh, reduced due to the person one who employed abroad. So they will due to that their poverty is reduced, and increase access to education, healthcare, and technology in the household, and contribute to GDP in recipient countries, especially for low and middle income nations. So it has a very great economic impact. And when you see the social impact, it enhances community resilience, family resilience, reduces child labor, and supports preparedness for natural disasters. So these are the minute level of when you see the development aspect, because it's also, if for example, if you take Kerala, people do migrate for job abroad, or within the state as well. So the when you see the disaster preparedness among them, it will go high when this there is a great money flow. And when you see as a global context, in 2021, official remittances to low and middle income countries were estimated almost $6,600 billion. India is top recipient globally, means that we contribute skilled and unskilled labors to the foreign nations, and we get lot of amount to, and the per capita income or the social impact and economic impact, we are benefited out of that. So there is a good, these are the key characteristics of the uh, uh, the remittance the happening due to diaspora community. And you see these during a period of 1950 to 1970, the contribution of remittances was merely 0.3 of total gross domestic product. So you see these, after that there is, after 1970s, there is a slight change in the percentage. You see that due to that, we have also discussed in the previous class, oil boom in Middle East countries where attracted most unskilled and semi-skilled laborers from India after 1970s. We have that percentage has been increased with increase of in remittance during 1970s to 1990s. From 0.3 to it has reached up to 1% of GDP in those periods within 20 years. And this trend later increased with the inclusion of skilled migrants and technological innovation of for secure money transfer. So there is a secure money transfer took place, and hand-to-hand transaction as limited. Post 90s, contribution of remittance reached 3% of GDP. So this trend continues till today, and where remittance of India reached 62 billion, which is approximately 2.8 of the total GDP of estimated by World Bank. So dear learners, we see the shift of the impact on positive impact on the gross domestic product from 0.3 to 2.8 percentage, or nearly 3 percentage and above, during the period from 1950s to 2017 or 2000, mid of 2000. So we are witnessing the high rate of remittance in India. And another example, if you see, in 2018, the United Arab Emirates was the largest sending country of remittance to India, with nearly 26.9 billion in value. And it's USA, followed by USA and Saudi Arabia, which is approximately 12 billion, 11.6 billion they are sending towards India. And the total remittance sent by these countries were more than $50 billion, which is 60%, 61% of the total remittance received by India. So what they are sending across all the countries, various countries, 61 percentage of the money comes to India. And whereas if you see the top 10 remittance sending countries to India, you find United Arab Emirates 26.9, followed by United States 22.9, Saudi Arabia 11.6, and Qatar 6.5, Kuwait 5.5, Oman, Hong Kong, Canada are the least. So, starting from United Arab Emirates, the top 10 countries are almost spending huge amount as remittance to India. So, when you see top 10 remittance, it is UAE, United States, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman, United Kingdom, Malaysia, Canada, and Hong Kong. So, they are sending a lot of uh, uh, portion of their money to India as remittances. And what is the purpose and everything. So when you see the mechanisms of remittance in India, we have various mechanisms coming late for policy formulation compared to other southern Asian countries. India has had a less active approach towards remittance policy. However, with the explosive rise of remittance forced the government of India to revisit their approach towards migration. And you find that Hawala, non-resident Indian deposit schemes, these are the major negative impact on it. So the country as India has come with a lot of changes. So they have a Foreign Exchange Control Act replaced by the Foreign Exchange Management Act in 2000. So they have a Foreign Exchange Control Act. So how they are going to control? Because they uh, want to stop this black money or hawala money, uh, uh, which is the impact on the Indian economic system. So formal remittance channels in India has took place. By definition, remittance is a fund transferred by an individual to his or her living country of their origin. And remittance is person to person payment rather than payment to purchase goods or services or payment towards business. So, remittance is a person to person payment. So, various mediums of remittance transfer exist, such as an international money order, money transfer organization, banks, informal channels such as Hawala, through agents, all those things. So there is an observed transfer of money through formal channels includes. We have lot of formal channels. One we know very well that demand draft or bank draft on a bank or mail transfer sent directly by remitting bank. So they will send a mail and all those things and they will do it bank to bank and travelers' checks to be enhanced with the receiver's country. And there is called a travelers' checks. And the international money orders, as we have discussed, issued by banks or post offices. And telegraphic transfers, SWIFT, fax, electronic transfers, ATM withdrawal from the sender's account abroad in receiver's country. So electronic money transfer by receiver's account in mobile phone internet. So these are the various methods where money is being transferred. So in remittance infrastructure has been a good development. Uh, and other than existing banks, a global number of non-banking institutions also made their purpose uh, presence over time. We know very well that Western Union, well-known name, and MoneyGram and others, which will do the work span of time, but they charge little bit higher than the bank. So so these are the ways people use the technology or the proper channel of money transfer. So the Reserve Bank of India regulates money transfer organization in India. So whoever works in the like Western Union or whatsoever, they must be regulated and guided by the Reserve Bank of India. So the money transfer organization will become popular because these channels do not require any bank registration. So you write your name, you give your money, and they will get the money in India. So these money transfer organization. I worked 2 years abroad. I just need to send 10,000 for as an emergency. I'll go immediately to my Western Union, and I just give them the worth of 10,000 in their as dollar or whatsoever. So they will immediately register within half an hour. The person can get it from India, but which will not happen when you use the normal bank transfer, because you have to go. It will take 3 days or 2 days through mail and everything. So due to that, money transfer is quite possible through the Western Union. But as I said, it's all regulated by the uh, uh, regulated by the Reserve Bank of India. So, so Indian postal system also provides a remittance transfer system, but it has largely proved ineffective and later signed agreement with money transfer organization. So we have almost 7,000 post offices in India across the states provide Western Union money transfer services, exempted in case of foreign tourists up to 50,000. So these are the little bit of things where we know understand about the remittance system that is happening in India. So the we see the things like how is remittance and all those things take place. We'll go to the differentiation of diaspora entrepreneurs from native diaspora. So what the diaspora, how it helps the entrepreneurs, and how this has impacted the entrepreneurial activity in India. So when you speak about the diaspora entrepreneurship, it's a little more we can understand about the how to conceptualize or materialize the diaspora entrepreneurship, impact of globalization of diaspora investment in entrepreneurship, government policies to encourage diaspora entrepreneurship, existing engagement, analysis of major sectors, and these are the various things when we speak about the diaspora entrepreneurship, and how to define it, define diaspora entrepreneurship. What are the major classification? These are we are going to discuss about in this unit. So, over the last 3 decades, diaspora entrepreneurship has gained visibility, we can say. So, globalization has enhanced the practical, economic, and affective role of diasporas, showing them to be practically adaptive from the social organization. So, in the recent years, we find that due to the impact of globalization, there is growing evidences of entrepreneurship in India. This is blooming. So everyone almost they want to start up something, want to do a entrepreneurship. So we also find there are certain evidences of diaspora entrepreneurship in India. With the extension of transnational networks, diaspora integration towards home country started becoming more and more familiar with regulatory changes in India, government foreign investment policies. Post 1990s, the liberalization process created An environment of diaspora entrepreneurship, especially in the service sector such as information technology, education, infrastructure, and healthcare. So, recent research suggests that expatriate communities are playing an important role in increasing bilateral trade between their country of origin and the country in which they are based. So, the rich people, they who have kind of wealth, but they are having the diaspora connection or diaspora people are transnational, have the capacity of starting the business in terms of in the area of infrastructure, healthcare, or whatsoever. So overall, entrepreneurship refers to the development of business by immigrants who are in a position to take advantage of diaspora policies and organizations set in place of by countries that are attempting to promote such entrepreneurship on the part of their nationals living abroad. And diaspora entrepreneurship is an important component of diaspora studies. We need to study in depth of it because it is we 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 are this diaspora entrepreneurship is really promoting the or heavy impact on the economic of the host countries as well as the home country because it's built it takes the revenue for both the country. So after we should understand how to conceptualize the diaspora entrepreneurship. So diaspora today in India spread across the globe with its presence in almost all countries in the world. Indian traders, entrepreneurs, travelers, and religious missionaries have been trading overseas since the beginning of their third century, especially to Southeast Asia and the east coast of Africa. So, in comparison to diaspora, the Indian diaspora has some unique features. There is probably no other diaspora in the world which has such an extraordinary diversity amongst its migrant population. It is diverse in terms of ethnic, linguistic, and religious groups as found in India itself. The ethnic members of a diaspora therefore carry with them the rich tradition of different customs, practices, values, and beliefs. So the ethnic members of diaspora, so their religious values and everything, their tradition, it's based on that their entrepreneurial activities differs. So diaspora entrepreneurs themselves differentiate from native traders through some specific characteristics. For example, if person goes from the India or southern part of India, north part of India, to some other countries, countries like uh, uh, Arab countries or East Asian countries or any other country in nature, they uh, play a vital role in that because they differ from that. And in Indian context, we can broadly differentiate three types of in diaspora. Excuse me. Excuse me. So diaspora entrepreneurs differentiate themselves from native traders through some specific characteristics. Like diaspora entrepreneurs use strong ties of religion, language, and ethnicity to unite themselves, and those ties usually play a major and remarkable role in their social, cultural, intellectual, as well as economic imperial characteristics. So diaspora members are often more willing than non-diaspora investors to take risk in starting or engaging in business activities in high risk or emerging markets. So diaspora members are able to take that risk because they know, uh, because first of all they are uh, rich enough and they know they get the raw materials and everything. So in that context, they are able to engage in business activities in high risk markets. In the Indian context, we can broadly differentiate three types of diaspora who are participating in entrepreneurial activities. First category is voluntary diaspora. You see the Gujarati, Sindhi, and other entrepreneurs who are trading historically from their homeland through different networks, and they are the first category. The second category of diaspora entrepreneurs or labor or colonial diaspora who went from India as an indentured labor, we have seen in the morning class. Later on, got settled there. So these migrants required the resources in their host land, and after that, participated in the host land economy through entrepreneurial expansion. The third type is skilled migrants. They have skilled migrants from India who migrated to various developed nations as healthcare or IT professionals, mostly after 1960s. So all distinctive categories clearly reflect the influence of culture in the diaspora entrepreneurship. So you see, this about this differentiate we should understand because the first one is voluntary because they voluntarily involved in entrepreneurial activity because they are rich enough. And second, who have gone as a worker and then to endangered worker or like a labor body unskilled, and they see the nuances and everything, and they get the support of the hosting country and they start. And there are other people go as an entrepreneur or fully skilled migrants from India to develop to various developed nations as a healthcare or IT professionals mostly. And all these distinctive categories clearly reflect the influence of culture in the diaspora entrepreneurship. Culture cannot be seen as a supplementary factor in the entrepreneurial process. Rather, it is a big factor in entrepreneurship. And it heavily influences the diaspora entrepreneurs worldwide to participate in their homeland with a complete reflection of uh, cultural value system or cultural embodiments they have. And you see that entrepreneurship is one of the very important prospects in serving the development of the society. You see, uh, money generation is taking place, and money can they impact on the economy of the both countries. So entrepreneurship is very important prospects in that connotation. A society with its interaction to other group or societies and a process of exchange of goods, it itself the start of entrepreneurial ideas. So the society interaction is high. So entrepreneurs can be seen as an economic functionary who forecast the wants of the consumers and lead two kind of incomes. First is contractual income, wage and rent, and residential income, profit of the entrepreneur. So these two incomes they are able to generate with a little different perspectives define entrepreneur as a driver of economic development. So entrepreneur activities can be seen as an introduction of new goods or quality of a good or introduction of new methods of production, opening of new markets, utilization of some new source of supply of raw materials or intermediate goods or carrying out of some new organizational form of the industry. Okay. So, in general, entrepreneurs can be seen as innovative industrial leaders, we can say, who assume the risk associated with uncertainty and organize and coordinate economic resources in order to fulfill the want of the society. So, these are the main characteristics as well as the importance of the entrepreneurship that we need to understand in a very uh, the base of the diaspora entrepreneurship. And moreover, the field of entrepreneurship is centrally concerned with the understanding of how opportunities to bring into existence future goods and services are discovered, and they also how they are exploited by whom, and with what is the consequences of exploitation in during entrepreneurship, that also need to be studied. And entrepreneurship behavior cannot be only explained by economic theory, because there is equal importance of psychological, cultural, and sociological factors. We cannot see the eye of economic, because entrepreneurship is within. It is not some established organization or government body. So he has to develop that, nurture it. So how the psychological, cultural, and other factors are important. And when we provide attention to cultural entrepreneurship, is especially important not only for the development initiative for an individual right, society, but also in the case of diaspora entrepreneurship. So our diaspora is inherently a cultural category, and much of its knowledge and dissemination involves strong cultural orientation, especially when it matters in the knowledge transfer of home country. Because when you talk about the culture, it means that they should culturally connected with within their diaspora community, as well as with the people of the homeland, hosting land. And while diaspora is always in the process of adjustment to a new culture, innovation and entrepreneurship become part of their adaptive quality in the host country. And diasporas investing in their home countries have advantages such as their understanding of cultural and social norms, familiar business culture, and social knowledge. Such familiarities can help in developing trust, thereby open up opportunities closed or unknown other individuals. Whereas in diaspora community in other countries, it is little hard. So we need to develop the kind of connectedness and to run our entrepreneurship very successfully. And immigration of one person or a group in the complex interplay of political, economic, cultural, psychological factors. And as a learners, we also understand how the social networks and ethnic also play an important role in promoting international trade for countries by helping to overcome weakness in informal and contracting environment by based bias. So, in the case of transactional diaspora entrepreneurship, the cultural influence has played a vital role that we have to understand. And there are two categories of diaspora entrepreneurship on the basis of entrepreneurial motivation and functioning. One is a diaspora necessity entrepreneurs. Okay. Types of diaspora in Indian entrepreneurship. So we see the first how there is the broad categories of diaspora community. One is diaspora necessity entrepreneurs who opens a business for survival and self-employed by default and concentrate in petty trade and personal services. Diaspora, this is called diaspora necessity entrepreneurs. And the person does not create many jobs or in many cases barely make enough to feed and family. So necessity entrepreneurship is largely operated by returning migrants. Okay. So the greater number of necessity entrepreneurs may not correlate with high levels of economic growth. So they for the necessity they start some business. For their earnings they start some business. Next one is so here unskilled immigrants and returns who establish their own business mainly out of necessity have different networking opportunities approaches to start business in the so start business experienced abroad, like the running businesses like that require little education, low startup. So it's clearly for the necessity. So the people who have that necessity, they will start a business. So while self-employment can create value for entrepreneurs and many employees they might have, and it reduces our unemployment and enables people to support themselves. That is the only thing. Okay, they just start for the necessity. They want to have some jobs in their hand. And next one is a cultural enterprise. When you say cultural enterprises, can be seen as a transnational enterprise because of their tacit role as a stewards and promoters the national identity among migrants. So they, based on their cultural markets, are based in the host land and help migrant communities is in daily contact with their homeland. So they have a cultural enterprise. Sometimes the things which they need. So the cultural enterprise they have for Indians, if they go abroad, they buy some saris or something like that. They have the cultural enterprise, which they cannot get there in their host land. And cultural enterprise include both ventures that produce and distribute homeland-based mass media such as newspapers and TV programming, and business that produce and distribute homeland-based beverage foods and everything. And like you see, Malaysia, Singapore are some of the effective examples of cultural markets driven by transnational enterprise. Most of these entrepreneurial activities use cultural networks in their home country, where reliability issues tend to be solved through cultural relationships. So, cultural enterprise is purely to need of the uh, Indian people in their host countries by some enterprises. And ethnic enterprise, in another hand, you see these include a range of small business ventures located in immigrant neighborhoods, employ exclusively homeland based products, retail commerce, beauty shops, auto mechanics, and informal street vendors are the examples of ethnic enterprise. Given the larger connection between Indian worldwide, ethnic enterprise sector is more vibrant and diverse. And many this type of enterprise depends on the steady supply of regulated and unregulated imports from their homeland. Businesses maintain transnational supply networks. So it's a ethnic enterprises. And return migrant enterprise. The fourth type of transnational enterprise is a business venture return migrants located in their homeland. The most common type of return migrant enterprises include school, universities, hospitals, infrastructure, investment, hotels and restaurants, service-based enterprises. So the return migrant business venture depends on transnational links and flows for their investment, capital and everything. Okay. So this is the very broad type of the diaspora enterprises in nature. And we have a diaspora opportunity entrepreneurs. When you say this, they called opportunity entrepreneurs are filling the gap in the economy and introducing new forms of production. And the person contributes sustainably to economic growth and often creates jobs outside the family. So, skilled individuals who specialize in high demand and rapidly growing sectors of the knowledge based economy can create huge economic opportunities and profits for business and their countries. So, this is called diaspora opportunity entrepreneurs. You have a circuit firms. It says that is a arch- archetypical transnational business venture because they sustain a flow of tangible and intangible resources between the country of origin and its migrant settlements. So they involve in multi-million dollar service industry, for example oil, kind of things. And their industry is high, cement and all those things. So cultural enterprises can be seen as a transnational enterprise because of their role as a promotes the national identity among the migrants. So it's a cultural enterprise. So they have this ethnic return migrant enterprise we have discussed. Okay. So these are the types of enterprise, labor, colonial, diaspora, skilled migrants. These are uh, the various times, okay, where how the diaspora has been uh, shifted. And the key takeaways that we will discuss later. And we move to the unit 5, that knowledge, technology transfer, and international trade. When you say the knowledge and everything, we should understand the impact of globalization on diaspora investment and entrepreneurship. We say diaspora integration with the home country is not a new concept, but it dramatically enhanced after globalization. So globalization played a vital role in and increased the cross-border entrepreneurial activities. You say that countries of origin are trying too hard to attract diaspora's talents and resources, while uh, countries of distinction hope to increase the effectiveness of their development. So we have kind of globalization playing a vital role. We know we have understood in the initial classes what is this globalization is all about, and return diaspora and entrepreneurship, and how this has impact on the diaspora community. When you see about the globalization, we know that uh, people are able to make the society into small. So when you say globalization, means that people are globalized citizens. It's not Indian citizen or US we have by birth or something, but moreover, we are all globalized citizens, globalized students. Now the emerging concept that how we make the educational institution to be interdisciplinary, or bringing the other countries courses into all those things is happening in educational field. It is because we are far ahead of globalization, but it also impact on the diaspora investment. Okay, so and the entrepreneurship. So recent research suggests that diaspora entrepreneurships can contribute to economic development, as we have discussed, and countries with higher levels of diaspora entrepreneurships tend to have promising prospects of economic growth, as well as proactive diaspora engagement policies, good governance, positive socio-cultural perception of entrepreneurship, and a critical mass of human and social capital and accessible to financial institutions are high when the diaspora uh, entrepreneurship is taking place, as well as this diaspora entrepreneurship gives an entrepreneurial market with less risk and uncertainty, and diaspora needs to be addressed properly by the government of the homeland through different relaxation and initiative which can further lead to homeland development. So goodwill of trust needs to be addressed in the relationship between state government and diaspora. Means that the government of India and the diaspora community. A concrete database needs to be maintained by every country having the diaspora relations. So there should be a database, what and how the database to be framed, and what the link has to be created need to be still regulated. So many initiatives such as providing grants to returnee diaspora for new venture and expansion of existing one, establishing risk sharing mechanism through different measures, example loan insurance, credit guarantee, etc. Incorporate diaspora entrepreneurs in the planning of industrial development. Regular consultation with the diaspora professionals are very important, and we also know the case of Silicon Valley. In 1960s, we might have heard about it. In especially after 1990s, Silicon Valley has been an attraction of knowledge for knowledge migrants from all over the world. You know that because of the third this trend, it soon became the place where multiculturalism is part of daily lives. So the Asian Indian community in Silicon Valley has grown dramatically in the past few decades. So what they have done with the increasing demand of IT professionals in America, Silicon Valley attracted peoples from around the world, including Indian, Chinese, British, etc., to many of whom were recruited directly from different countries by rapidly growing technology firms to fill a seemingly endless need for computer scientists, software engineers, and other highly skilled professionals. So the entire process of this development created by many ideological changes around the world, and many concepts came into existence such as brain drain, brain gain, and brain chain. But this very uh, newness that presents development of this diaspora entrepreneurship from the homeland, such as the use of business enterprise to promote sustainable development. So how we there the bringing the sustainability in the entrepreneurial activity. and making available their knowledge, skills, experience in addition to their financial resources. These are very, very important aspects when we deal with that. So the case of Silicon Valley, it's an example for that. So it needs to be considered that without Indian immigrants, that valley would not be what it is today. So Indian engineers have been becoming to the US in increasing numbers since the early 1970s. Almost half of the H-1B visas given by the State Department to go to Indian engineers. Okay, so half of the H-1B visa goes to Indian engineers. Given the diasporic expertise in this sector and the strong linkages among the diaspora communities in Silicon Valley, it did not take long before several startups took place in Bangalore and Hyderabad, followed with the rest of India. So US is the Silicon Valley. It is because of Indian engineers. So imagine that half of the visas were given to Indian engineers in the early 1970s to now, uh, probably. And this is the quite example of how the diaspora community involved and how they develop and build the particular entity there in other countries. So understanding the motivation of remitting is necessary for analyzing the wider economic consequences of remittances for at least two reasons. First, the amount that migrant transfer to family members at any given time depends, among other things, on the migrant underlying motivation to go abroad and remit funds in the first place. The size and timing of remittance flow in turn determine their effects on economic activity in the receiving country. Second, the intended purpose of remittances affects the end users of these funds and thus users to which the recipients put them in is also important determinant of their economic impact of the recipient economy. So remittances are the most important instrument for all country diaspora driven development. Right. So overall, any diaspora entrepreneurial activities usually give effects to different dimensions of the society. It can create employment, develop infrastructure, and increase economic capacity to stakeholders through financial as well as knowledge development. So since liberalization after 2000, 2000, Indian diaspora has initiated a number of entrepreneurial ventures in India. So that is the history of entrepreneurial diaspora formulation in India. So we have another thing like return diaspora and entrepreneurship. So they return from hosting land and what they do. So the brain drain is often seen as a major setback for the developing countries like India and China, especially in the case of IT and health professional during 1980s. So what they have done, though only about 10 new arrivals from one of these countries, they make up 22%, 28% of college educated new arrivals. So they have the brain drain. Reason only suggests that in current global competitive environment, many provide a crucial advantage to these countries through return migration. So return diaspora is not only denoting physical presentation, but it can also be through knowledge processing and the entrepreneurial network between host and home countries. So they return from their hosting country and they start new ventures, new training, and developing the system in their host and home countries. And as in the current global scenario, where most of the developing countries' markets are still working with a protectionist mindset with a lack of innovation ecosystem based on the collaborative between firms, universities, and research and development in the institutes and financial institutions. We don't have proper network. So diaspora entrepreneurs with global experience and innovative ideas are capable of generating better livelihood and states development. So you see, lot of connectedness that takes place, lot of the investment in the entrepreneurial activities are taking place. So the drawback is that what this paper says that here there is a connectedness is missing between the firms, industries, research and development, financial institution, and universities where a lot of people are getting educated. So that is the thing where the diaspora entrepreneurs is lacking, is facing the problem. So the government policies to encourage diaspora entrepreneurship. In India, initiatives to engage diaspora have multiplied at both central government and state government levels. So we have at national level the Ministry of External Affairs has a number of special programs for overseas Indians. And this ministry relating to overseas Indians comprising persons of Indian origin, NRI, and OCA. So we know it very well. So the mission is to establish a vibrant institutional framework to facilitate and support mutually beneficial networks with and among overseas Indians to maximize the development impact for India and enable overseas Indians to invest in and benefit from the opportunities in India. So they have given a lot of programs. So what are the very major programs? We see that uh, BBD, that is one of the most important diaspora engagement policies of Indian government for the last 10 years. So the BBD convention have been organized every year since 2003. So they all come together and form a kind of seminar or conference, and they will have that type of conferences where they can speak about the activities, what they do, how they financial support, and everything. And Overseas Indian Facilitation Center was established to provide a single window information access to non-resident Indian entrepreneurs. And there are the linkage to knowledge partners and everything. So existing engagement and everything is high when when we speak about the uh, kind of programs that is benefiting the people. And you see that into knowledge and technology transfer and international trade. Migrant shifted from brain to drain to brain to gain circulation, emphasizing migrants to role in economic remittance and knowledge shaping. And technological advancement is on another hand, and ICT tools and AI and technology transfer involves research and development, licensing, training, and all those things where when we speak about the knowledge, technology transfer, and international trade. And we have that gaps in technology and knowledge. We know that the technology gap differences in R&D innovation and access to technology between developed and developing nations is a major issue, and factors influencing the gap like education, culture, ethics, and everything, and observative capability, adapting foreign technologies to local conditions, another issue, and technical capability, generating new technological knowledge, and we also see that indicators includes GDP, spend on research and development, and all those things. And South and the East Asia show progress, and these are the gaps in technology and knowledge where we lack in the research and development, and how we move ahead with that. So technology and technology and information transfer networks. So we have a kind of knowledge flows are often asymmetric and with more outward migration than return flows. So countries like Taiwan, India, China leverage their diaspora for industrial growth and research and development, whereas policy frameworks and institutional support are critical for successful technology transfer. So a lot of bad bottlenecks when we uh, bring the policy framework and taking the benchmark from the other countries and everything. So examples from Singapore, Korea, and China show the value for systematic readiness and enabling environment for the diaspora community. Whereas we don't have a better policy to acknowledge and develop the diaspora engagement, and diaspora knowledge can drive technological progress and sustainable economic growth. So that need to be capitalized. And role of technology in development, when you speak about role of technology in development, it is for economic growth, improving living standards is the first one, So we know that how far the technology is improved. So in terms of manufacturing, service sector, industrial sector, education sector, and everywhere. And this technological advancements is fundamental for economic growth and developed nation innovation. While developing nation focus on accessing and adapting foreign technologies. And technological transmission includes various processes like research, investment, licensing, agreements, and workforce training. So these are couple of things which, as the role of technology in development is required, and how this diaspora community can be used or utilized for developing the technology, from the advancing the technology to incorporating the technology. So what privilege the country is having to do so in India? So that need to be formed. And so importance of ICT in emerging technologies also need to be understood. And key factors in reducing the gap. One is absorptive capability, and one is a technical capability. Developing homegrown innovation and advanced technology, and ability to adapt and integrate foreign technology into local conditions. So one you absorb, and another one you be capable of that. So there's the two things need to be taken into consideration. And indicators of progress. So GDP percentage allocated to research and development, output in scientific publication, levels of innovative capacity and patent registration. How far it is there? Okay. So China is sometimes well ahead of these three dimensions because they do a lot of investment on the research and development in various angles and the publication and everything. So how India can move ahead with type of incorporating the technology and everything. So, the key takeaways of that is what is the difference of on diaspora entrepreneurs versus native entrepreneurs. That is one thing that this unit clearly defines, and how it we also discussed about these two areas. And types of diaspora in Indian entrepreneurship. What is a skilled migrants? How it is voluntary diaspora and labor colonial diaspora, and the difference of diaspora and native diaspora. What is the advantage the diaspora community is having? And this we discussed in the initial, and we also see that the remittance. What is the remittance? What is how it is regulated? What are the ways the amount remittance can be done, and how the thing like other, apart from money, what are the other things are considered as remittance? Uh, if it is not regulated, how it has to be regulated to reduce the hawala amount and all those things. So that was the discussion in the beginning, and we also discussed in the last few minutes on uh, the areas of the migration and technology. So migration is longer seen as just a brain drain, but a dynamic process of skill and exchange and innovation. And developing countries need observative and technological capabilities to maximize the benefits of the technology transfer. That is one thing. And successful technology adoption requires systematic readiness, strong policy frameworks, and active diaspora engagement. With that, we can have a successful technological adoption. And ICT and emerging technologies have opened new opportunities for collaboration, innovation, and migration management. So the countries like China, Singapore, India highlight the importance of integrated diaspora contribution to national development strategies. So this is what this unit is all about, and deals almost the things. So we, as I have said, we need to understand the remittance perspective, these areas, uh, especially how the countries is moving ahead. And when you see the concept of knowledge, technology, and international trade, we need to also understand the globalization perspective. How globalization has an impact on these dimensions on knowledge, technology, technology transfer, and international trade. And when you talk about the uh, observe, observative capacity, there's international trade plays a main role uh, because it represents the uh, openness of the national system. The more open system, the more the capable to imitate foreign advanced knowledge. So openness means export and import, GDP export of high tech products as percentage of GDP. When you say about human capital, the next area, this is the key observative capacity variable. Typically emphasizes the technology gap models. So how we are going to use the human capital infrastructure, the other dimension of observative capacity, the greater the level and equality of infrastructure, that means network, transportation, distribution, increase the country's capability to observe, adopt, and implement foreign advanced technologies. So that is the main thing. So number of when you say the quality of the institution and governance systems. So how far the governance is transparent, how far the relaxation is there in terms of tax and everything. The better, more efficient governance system tends to increase the country's commitment to technological upgradation. And another thing is social cohesion and economic inequality. So there is must be a social cohesion. There is not be a terrorism or at the major level or the small level, the discrimination and all those things uh, here which will hinder the observation of the technology. So national system with a greater level of social cohesion and within the country income inequalities is general characterized by higher degree of trust and knowledge sharing and supporting the peace of diffusion and adoption of the different knowledge in the country. So these are the main things when you speak about the observative capacity. When you talk about the uh, innovative capability, we have an indicator definition, where innovative input, scientific output are the indicators. So the total efforts and investment carried by each country for research and development for innovative, and that is the main area that is we need to discuss. And the total research and development expenditure as a percentage of GDP. So how much is being spent on research and development will give the importance of the country's involvement and importance in R&D, research and development. Scientific output denotes the result of research and innovation activities carried out by the public and scientific and technical publication. So, what is the number of publication is given, and technological output. The how far the private firms have taken the patents rights, new products, and everything. So these are the areas this particular block is discussing all about. So we will go in the other class also a bit depth of the technological perspective, and I hope this paper, this block two on economic impact of diaspora on the areas of remittance, on the areas of technology, on the areas of entrepreneurship has given a greater learning for all of us to understand how it can impact on the economical perspective in three dimensions. One is remittances, money perspective or asset perspective, and entrepreneurial activities in terms of business perspective, and innovation and R&D in terms of technological perspective. So any questions you can ask? Uh, my class ends now.
Thank you, sir. Just one quick question in terms of the remittance part. Uh,
Yes.
i- in terms of the taxation, are remittances taxed from an India perspective? If not, why? And is that the case in other countries as well?
It says the tax is paid through bank when you transfer it, they will deduct it sometimes. But if it is for the home or house purpose, it is not. I'm not aware of much about the other countries, but in India, it is there is a taxable. If you are involving in business and everything, it is taxable.
You mean to say if somebody is sending, an NRI is sending money to their family here
That
as
is
a
not
remit-
taxable. That is not taxable.
Can you explain why it is not taxable?
Because you are the salary where you are getting in your hosting country, I think the person will be paid a tax over there. All right. Because you are getting certain amount. If, for example, you are working in US, your salary is being taxed over there. But you are sending certain amount here for your as a kind of transaction, which is not a salary where it is comes here. It's like a transaction where for the transaction there is a bank charge or something will be taken, but that is not a tax. But in your hosting country, you will be taxed for your salary. How it cannot be taxed here?
True, but in most cases, it comes from some of the GCC countries where income is not taxed there, right?
Hmm.
So in that context, so they earn, which is not taxable at source, and it is also not taxable at when it is received. I mean, is that how it is, or is there any difference in terms of other countries and things like that? It is just a
Other
country policy.
countries, I am not much aware, but I will explain you in the next class if it's possible. But in terms of countries like US or Canada, it is even in Australia, it is taxed for your salary. But other countries where the tax is not there, probably in India, if you transaction is done such like that, it is not taxed. But I will give clarity probably in the next class. Need a little for my end also little more understanding of that. It's a good question.
Sure. Thank you.
The rest it is over now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll meet again at 5 o'clock by somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.